it's Jessie with Plan with Jessie, and I want to show you how I have converted a standard size traveler's notebook into an A6 and then try to do it with this Webster's Pages one as well. So this one here is a Zinni Dory unicorn from Simple Heart, and I always really loved this traveler's notebook. The color, I like how soft it is, I love all the pockets. So, you know, it kind of bummed me out that I never really stuck with the standard size traveler's notebook. So it occurred to me, why not just cut it down? So all I did was take a pair of scissors and cut across here. Now the only downside is that now the white stitching doesn't go all the way around like it did here. But in terms of the finish, if you can see how that is, it's no different than what the bottom looked like before. I didn't cut the bottom, so it's exactly the same. It's just the only difference is the stitching, and I did move the hole, so there's an extra hole. So this isn't going to work if you're very particular about your traveler's notebook Fodori and how it looks. If an extra hole is going to bother you or the missing stitching is going to bother you, then this method's not for you. But for me, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, the charms pretty much cover that hole, and the stitching is not really an issue. I'm just so happy to be able to utilize this notebook again, that, you know, I'm able to look past those couple of flaws. Okay, so now I thought I would try to do the same thing with this Webster's Pages traveler's notebook. I got this from Joann Fabric. It was on clearance for about $15, and I thought, since it's such a pretty color, I like this sort of aqua color, that why don't I try to convert it, see how it goes. This material is a little bit different than what the Zinni Dory was. It's a little bit stiffer. I'm not sure if that's going to give me any problems. I like to keep the pen loop if I can, so here's an example of an A6 that I like the size of. I think what I'll do is just cut it just a little bit higher than this pen loop so that we keep the integrity of that pen loop. So we're going to lose the stitching on this pocket, and we'll lose, I guess, the top of this pocket as well. They'll still have these pockets here and here and here. They'll just be a little bit different, you know, than it looks now. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take out your string, because you don't want to accidentally cut the string when you are cutting the top of the notebook off. So this comes off really easily. I've never owned one of these Webster's Pages ones before. By the time they came out in this traveler's notebook, I really wasn't doing standard size anymore. But I do like them. They're faux leather. They come in a lot of different colors. I like all the pockets, so it's a good chance to try one out. When I cut the other one, I used scissors, but I'm going to try and use this roller cutter. What do you call this? I forgot. That I have from back when I tried to sew. Those days. So I'm going to use a ruler, and I'm just going to cut, I think, just above here. Like I said, it's pretty thick. There's a lot of layers on the pocket size. This part's not too bad, this white interior, but the part with the pockets have quite a bit of layers, so I might need to go over this a few times. Yeah, see, that's not bad. See how the top is. So I might need to glue this here But other than that, I think it's going to be okay. Alright, let me try to go back over my lines a little bit harder. Stubborn right there. Don't want to tear it. There we go. Yeah, okay. So that is cut off. So I need to trim this up a little bit with some more fine scissors so that it's not quite so jagged. See, like this is a little bit frayed, so I'm just going to use these scissors and clean it up a little bit. That's better, so that's a little bit cleaner. So this pocket over here, I guess, just sort of became a secretarial pocket because we lost the slit up here. So unless I decide to get industrious and maybe make a slit here and glue this down, this is just going to be a secretarial pocket back here. Okay, which is fine. The integrity of all these pockets is still fine. There's 2 slots here, and like I said, I might just glue this part down with some fabric glue just so that it's looks a little bit nicer. So it's done. Now all I need to do is I need to make new holes here and here and then move this down. And this is going to be a little tricky to get out because they put this little metal piece here so that it doesn't come out. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. I'll have to retie it later. I don't know any other way to save it. So this is my screw punch. So I'm just going to estimate you know, where to put my holes down on this end. You're right. A little bit down there. Oops. All the way through. There we go. And then just using the ruler to line it up a little bit so that it's fairly symmetrical. So I don't always do this, and then it comes out a little bit crooked. So just making a little bit extra effort here. Okay. For the middle hole, just ignore this and sort of find the middle of these two. Does it look right? That's about right. Whoa, whoops, slipped. A little bit of an oops there. This punch is misbehaving on me. Okay, so now we just need to restring. I'm not crazy about this little Stay Grateful tab thing, so I'm going to keep that off as I restring. Make sure you put it in the right hole. It's always a little tricky getting this back in. So then I'm just going to tie a knot. You can always retie it later if you made it too loose or too tight. Just don't triple knot it or anything if you think you are going to want to make a change later. Oh, I should mention, if you're curious, we went on the carousel at the mall today and we got horse stamps. So you're wondering what that is, it's a horse stamp. Okay, so that's good. And now we just need to restring the interior. The string is pretty flimsy, but I'm going to go ahead and use it just because I like that it matches. If the flimsiness of the string bothers me too much, I can always switch it out later. Anytime you buy a traveler's notebook, you have to remember that you're not stuck with it as is. You can always change the elastic, add more, different colors, all different kinds of stuff. Turn it into an A6. And I think this would also work to change it to a pocket. I'm not sure about what the dimensions of a pocket are, though. If this would be too... Oh, not pocket, I mean personal. Or a pocket, or passport. I don't know. I think some of those are narrower. And I don't think cutting it more narrow is going to work. I mean, it might, but I don't think it's going to look as nice if you cut off the sides. I can't remember, even though it was like 5 minutes ago, how this was strung before. I think it was just 2 elastics, but because I have all this extra elastic, because I shrunk it down, I'm going to make it into double elastics on each side. Oops. Sometimes I need to trim the end off if it's a little bit frayed, and then it'll go through the hole a little bit better. And if it's really stubborn, you can always use like the tip of your sharp scissors or a pin or something to help guide it through. Oh, we're in there, good, okay. So that looks good. Whoops. And just tie this here. Again, I can leave it a little bit loose because I'm going to decide if this is how I want it. And then once I have decided, I'll trim this down here and here. Okay, so let's add some inserts.